Hello, and thank you for joining us for another Changer Chat. I'm Grant Venable, Director of Change at Be the Change Volunteers. We are so excited because today we have our friend and education partner, Marisol Perez, the school social worker at Domingo, Pietri, Ruiz, and Adjuntas Puerto Rico, joining us for another great Changer Chat. Marisol, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Marisol, we're so glad to have you today. We just got back from a great project in Puerto Rico. And typically we do the Changer Chats on site when we can, but we were so busy from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day with just great activities that we didn't lock it in. So I'm so glad you made a little extra time for us today. I want to get into the conversation with you. One of the purposes of Changer Chats is so that our listeners can learn about our community partners, our education partners, and really hear their story. There's so much that happens behind the scenes during a project, but also the outcomes after a project. We really can't capture it well without getting your story. So before we do that, let's go back. Tell us about where you're from. Tell us about yourself and tell us about where you live now.
Well, I'm naturally from San Sebastian, a little town on the center north part of the island of Puerto Rico, but I've been living in Adjuntas for 20 years now. That's the amount of time that I've been working in the Department of Education as a social worker, especially for this school, Domingo, Pietri, Ruiz, which I got around 4 years ago.
And tell us about, so most people, when they go to think of Puerto Rico, they think of the beach. They think of San Juan, where a lot of people from the continental U.S. hang out. But Adjuntas is in the mountains. It's totally different. Tell us about living in Adjuntas, because I love it there.
Well, Adjuntas is a beautiful town. It's up in the mountains. It's right in the middle, I'll say in the heart of Puerto Rico. It's surrounded by beautiful mountains. It has lots of rivers and lakes. It's a really nice, quiet town. It's a small town where everybody knows everybody, and it's just like a huge family where everybody gets along. It's awesome to live there.
You know, whenever I'm in Adjuntas, and even this last time with the team, you're exactly right. Everybody is so polite, and it's such a great small town. Your husband Paco said it best. When you walk down the street, don't be surprised when someone says "Buenos dias, buenos dias." Everyone's saying hello to you and hello to each other. And then you sit down in a bakery to have breakfast, and a stranger walks in and says "Buen provecho."
That's right. Everybody's very friendly.
And so
that's how it is.
It's exactly like that. And I love that about Adjuntas. It makes me want to come and stay there longer. So you are the social worker for the elementary school, Domingo Pietri. Can you tell us about, the community that you work with there, and tell us about your job? What are some of the things that you do to serve the students and families at your school?
Well, right now we have around 315 students, which equals 315 families that we're serving in the community. Most of them are below the poverty level, but are very hardworking people. There's a lot of diversity in our community. I mean, we have people who come from downtown. We have people who come from everywhere in the town. So they are very different, but at the same time, very alike. And what I do as a social worker, my main project or my main task in school is to help those families with anything that can be affecting the quality of education of the children. So that's about it.
Let's go back to 2018. BTCV had already done a project in Utuado, which is a nearby town.
Right.
And after that, you were approached by our community partners at Adjuntas Puerto Rico about doing a project at your school. And so part of the responsibility of the education partner is to fill out the application forms. Tell us about that experience and the site evaluation when we came to look at your school. Just tell us what that was like as a first-time participant on the other side of the table.
Well, it's funny because I had just got to that school, and then they were like when I got to school, they said, there's a group of people who are coming. They want to volunteer and work for the school, and they all speak English. We don't. So since you're the only one who understands English, you are the one who needs to talk to them. And I was like, okay, what is this about? I didn't know. But then you guys came in, and what a wonderful experience to meet you all, to have the opportunity to work along with you in this project, and to receive from you so much, not only about the help that you guys were giving, but wow, the wonderful quality of human beings that were involved in this project. It was outstanding.
And in 2019, I'll go back even further. We learned in 2017 that the government schools in Puerto Rico, particularly the elementary schools, did not all have playground equipment.
That's right.
And so that was something that BTCV began to address. And when we got to your school, we had to evaluate where to place a playground, and you helped a lot with that. But of course, we also had to do some stump removal and some real labor work to make the playground fit where it went. The whole experience, what did you learn from your experience with us in 2019 that helped your project in 2022 be so successful?
Well, first of all, you were so communicative about it. We work along together, and everything was very smooth. I mean, you were the hard work that you put into this, the coordinations. We were all the time talking and working together. And even though I did helped in some ways, you made it all happen. And the volunteers were awesome people, so hardworking and so engaging. They were awesome. Actually, we as a school had a very huge yard, and we didn't have a playground. The kids would go out and they would hang around, didn't have specific things to do. But after that was installed, they were crazy about it. They really enjoyed it very much. We took a lot of pictures of them enjoying the area, and it was awesome. So since that opportunity that we have to work the first time, I knew that I could expect a group of people very hardworking and very willing to give, which that was one of the things that mostly amazed me, how hard giving they all are.
I know how important classrooms are and desks. We have these lists at BTC. We call them the must-haves and the would-likes. And unfortunately, playgrounds are one of the things that fall into the would-likes, not the must-haves. But I have to tell you, after watching, the students run to the new playground equipment and just really play, enjoy it. If I could do anything for the rest of my career, I would install playgrounds at schools because it is absolutely the best. So,
and as long as they are happy, they are more willing to be receptive to classes. So
absolutely.
This free time that they have to play, sometimes we don't realize how much how important that is for them to be happy, for them to feel comfortable, for them to feel comfortable, happy there, and be able to enjoy, because they will go back to the classroom with a better attitude to learn.
Absolutely. And, we talk to our supporters about there's scientific research that backs playgrounds directly correlate with better classroom attendance, better classroom scores.
Absolutely.
So that's a big reason for playgrounds beyond just the emotional feel good that we get. You're absolutely right. It directly correlates with better performance in the classroom, which makes the teacher's life easier as well. And that's another thing that we want to be one of our outcomes. So in 2022, we had a group from Columbia Independent School ask about coming to Puerto Rico to serve. And we have what I call a punch list of items at all the different project partners of things that, we would like to do, It's just a matter of finding the people and the finances to do it. And one of the issues at your school was during Hurricane Maria in November 2017, there were several mudslides around the community. There's a huge one behind your school that actually ruined part of your parking lot and still hasn't been totally remedied. But a mudslide hit your entrance, the main entrance to your school. And
Right.
the way that it's set up, the road was cleared and the sidewalk was cleared, but then there's a metal fence. And of course, on the other side of the metal fence is the street drainage ditch, which of course engineers put those in to protect roadways from water damage long term. That ditch was filled in with several truckloads of dirt. And we know that the municipalities and everybody there is completely just over clearing mudslides, but that was something that needed to be fixed so that we could protect the entrance long term. So we brought the team in, and of course, you guys were awesome. You had everything all set for us as far as accommodations and everything goes. But just talk to us about working with those CIS students and the parents and the interactions you had over the week while we cleared out that ditch.
Well, that project seemed impossible to us to fix. It was really hard work, and we didn't have like the tools to do that. And then come along these kids from Columbia Independent School, along with our teachers and parents and all of the leaders from BTCV. And it was amazing having them. They were so enthusiastic about this. They put so much hard work on this. And something that really amazed me is these kids were on their spring break.
Right.
They could have chosen to be anywhere, to vacation anywhere else and do anything else. And they chose to serve. They chose to serve older students. They chose to serve our school. And we are very, very grateful for that. I mean, there were a bunch of amazing kids, really hardworking kids, and they did an amazing job.
I was so impressed with how much dirt they actually moved. I mean, I'm 6'2", and there were spots where the dirt was up to my chest. So it was a lot of dirt. And the other project that they got done was to sand down and completely reprime and repaint the playground equipment so that it has nice, long-lasting coats of high-grade metal paint on it. It looks beautiful and brand new.
It does. They did an excellent job on that area. And I do want to go back to the ditch just for a second.
Sure.
To stand out that the first day you guys were working on that area, it rained. Right. And it didn't stop anybody. They kept digging. They kept pulling out dirt. That was amazing to do. And oh my God, I can't begin to express how much we appreciate everything you did. As for the playground, it came out beautiful. When the kids came back to school, you didn't get to see that because that week, kids were online.
Mm-hmm.
They were taking classes online. But when they came back, you should have seen their faces lighten up to see the new colors. It looked like new. I do have some pictures that I'm going to send you.
Oh, perfect.
I took recently of them playing around and having so much fun. They were so happy.
One of the other things that we did with the mudslide issue also is we evaluated the slope of the hill. And, to regrade and reslope that would take a lot of heavy equipment. But we noticed that the areas that didn't have bad mudslides had trees planted in them. And so we partnered up with Para La Naturaleza, and they donated 15 trees to the school, which we staggered across the hill in a way that would start to begin some erosion prevention. So, we were also looking to the future to try to prevent that from happening again. And then I want to point out, you were able to collect some new laptops, and we call that technology funding. We can't bring teams of volunteers to plug in laptops. It's just not a week's worth of work. But because every volunteer is a donor, this team was able to fund some technology at your school. Would you just talk to us about some of the technology that the school received and how that's being utilized?
Oh, absolutely. Those 6 computers, there were 6 laptops with their monitors, and they were installed in the library. We created with that sort of a small lab where teachers, parents, and children can go and access information. They can access the internet. They can go do homework. They can go and do research. They can go into the system to put on the grades and whatever it is that is needed to do. We didn't have that. Our computers were so old and some of them were damaged after the hurricane. So thanks to the donors, the excellent job they did, we got to work with this small computer lab, which is awesome. So it was a great assessment.
And then one of the families from CIS donated some extra money to make sure that the school was able to get new printers. And they also made sure that you guys had enough ink for the entire school year. So that was also cool to see get implemented at the school.
Absolutely. So they were installed in the lab and they're in use right now.
So tell us about, we know Puerto Rico has been through a lot with the pandemic, with earthquakes, with a hurricane, but we don't want those things to be what defines Puerto Rico. Let's talk about the greatest challenges related to education. I think we've covered some of that just in the income levels in your community and technology. But what are the challenges that you see related to education in your community that still need to be addressed?
Well, like you said, we've been through a lot, but we are a very resilient community. And right now, I'll say we need to work with our families to reinforce in them the fact that education is their tool to come out of poverty. I've seen so many young kids that I had as a social worker in the middle school coming now to my school, bringing their kids. And sometimes I feel they're kids raising kids because they didn't give themselves the chance to go out to study and to do something different with their lives. And I'm not saying it's not okay to be a parent, but I'm saying you should embrace education and give yourself the chance to do something more with your life so you can be a better providing parent when it comes to that. So I'll say that we need to reinforce in our families, in our community, the value of education as a tool to overcome poverty. Absolutely.
Yeah, at BTCV, one of our mottos is basically, we say, creating better education creates better jobs, and a better job is the only way out of poverty. And we really believe that. That's been something we've been really trying to implement as something we say in all of our projects. So one of the questions I was going to ask you is, if you could travel on any BTCV project, where would you go? But you've already decided, and you're going to be going to Peru this year as a volunteer. Tell me about, I'm guessing you're pretty excited.
Absolutely, I am. When I reached out to you after this second project, after this second chance of working with you guys, I felt in my heart, like I told you, the need to give back some of what we have received, and we have received so much from this organization. So I would love to go to a place where I can feel like I can put my hands to work, that I can be helpful. And since I speak Spanish as my first language, I decided maybe Peru would be a good choice to be helpful to not only as a translator, but as a hard worker, because it was funny. My coworkers in school said, "You look like you look like one of them. You look like a volunteer in our school, even though you work here." And again, it's your passion is contagious. And even though I have a passion of my own, when we work together, amazing things happened. And again, I feel in my heart the need to give back. And I feel in Peru, since Spanish is my first language, I will be able not only to be a translator, but put all my enthusiasm, all my hard work, and all my heart in serving others, just like my community has been served.
Well, I want you to know that you are a true changer, Marisol, and we are so fortunate to be working with you, and we're grateful for everything that you do for your school, but also to make projects with Be the Change Volunteer successful. So thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you guys for being an amazing team, amazing people willing to give and willing to make changes for other people. So we in Puerto Rico, we in Adjuntas, we in Domingo Pietri Ruiz School are very, very grateful to you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for joining us for another Changer Chat. If you like Changer Chats, please show us with your financial support at btcv.us. If you have a great idea for someone to interview for Changer Chats, let us know by contacting us at info@btcv.us. Thank you, and be the change.